Hello, and as I sit here and ponder, I have now had my electric car for 1 month. What have I done? How far have I been? How much has it cost? Let's look at that in this video. Okay, now, as I said, we have had it 1 month. It is not a calendar month, it's just 1 month. In any future videos I will do calendar months rather than months of how long I've had. But I think that I've had the car now for a full month. Have I had any problems? Yes, I did have problems. We'll review that, and that was in a different video that we'll look at when I got the car, what problems I did have. But the car is running as it should. So let's get down to what have we done in the last month with the car. When I got the car, I didn't do many miles because of the problem it had when I first got it. But that went, and of course I did a very large drive up to Scotland without any cards to tap on a machine and get it to charge. So yeah, a few little problems there, but nothing major, and quite interesting of how it is when you don't have any cards. So we went to Scotland, we drove around Scotland, we did some decent long trips that I would not have done in my LPG car. And let's just say my LPG car costs 9p a mile, and that is what we will run on, because that is a known amount which I can vouch that is accurate for the car I previously had, because that's what it did for the last 2 years. Same price, just about. It was almost. The difference was down to just price increases, but it was near enough being 9p a mile. So I could, if I'd still had my LPG car, would I have done some of the trips I'd done in Scotland? No, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have, because I would be spending maybe £10 going out for the day, and that I probably wouldn't have done. I probably would have just stayed and watched a video and went out on the most nicest days there was, because there was some rainy days. So, but did the electric car make me go further? Did I want to go further? And well, the answer, yes, I did want to go further. Even though I didn't have the easiest charging ability with not having the card, I still utilised distance the car had. And so therefore, we did quite a lot of miles. In total, the Scottish part of my month came to a total of 910 miles. So my full month came to 1,160 miles for 1 month of having the car. And yes, it is a bit unusual having an electric car, but I don't seem to get, when I'm at a charger, as much people walking past and looking and pointing as what we see in some videos. You can get the odd person ask, but not as many as what I've seen in people's videos. So let's get down to it. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. We did 910 miles in Scotland. So at 9p a mile, we're looking well over £80 worth of cost. I think it probably comes more nearer to £90 I would have spent if I had done that many miles. So we have a £90 figure of how much it would have cost if I didn't do that. Looking at the whole 1,164 miles I've done, well, that's a much bigger figure. It's well over £100 in costs I would have spent if I had my old car. So, how did it go? Well, problem comes is that we know how many miles we've done. It's not as easy to work out how many kilowatt hours of power we've put in the car, because a number of the chargers that I used did not display how much they put in your car by the time they finished. They either flashed up for such a short time that I couldn't read it, or I wasn't prepared for it to turn up, so I didn't get how much the kilowatt hours was. I know percentage wise what the car turned up with it at a charger and what it finished with, and the mile difference of how much miles were put in, but not on every single charger the kilowatts, because some of them are just boxes with no screens at all, so you don't get any information like that. So along them lines, not as easy to work out. It's not like saying I put 3 gallons of petrol in, because I don't know. But we have still a mileage figure. We know how many miles we've done, and we have a cost figure, because we know how much we've spent and how much we've been charged for doing their miles. And as was said, in my LPG car, that is well over £100 worth of driving, easy. And so we'll stick to that. So let's look at how many times have I charged using my home. Well, during the beginning, I had to test out the cable that came with the car. So I plugged the car in for 2 hours, and I think I only put in about 3.5 kilowatts went round on my meter. I have solar panels, so some of the solar panels would have went into the car, so balanced off that, it only pulled off I think 2 to 3 kilowatts. So more went in than what was displayed, so once again I can't judge how much went in, but it wasn't a lot, because it was a test on, is the car charging using the plug? Yes, it did, so that was fine. Let's get back. These people who phone you up from companies, pain in the arse. Okay, so let's get back. My second charge, I plugged in the morning that I was going up to Scotland to trickle in a tiny bit, warm up the battery and do that. It actually, when I looked at how much got used, it was like 0.3 of a unit, so I think it took it all from the solar panels and nothing from the meter that morning, because I had nothing else on, so it was a fine day when I left. So it came up with fraction, so the total is no more than 5 kilowatt hours of electricity at 15p, which is about what my supplier does for that month. And so we come to maybe 75 pence. Not really worth trying to do a calculation with that, I don't think so. But that's mostly on test. I wouldn't, and I didn't have to do anything and use my home charger anymore, because it isn't the cheapest source of electricity at the minute for charging an EV. So really, as it is a test, I am going to just ignore it, because it's less than a pound and it is irrelevant. The bigger and more important is my outside charging on all the charge points in Scotland, and the ones which I've done since I've come home and gone to. This comes to a very large amount. This is going to take some calculating for my miles cost and how much it's cost per kilowatt and all of that, bringing together all the different amounts that make up the cost. So I have a piece of paper, and I have it written on this piece of paper. So I'll just show you the piece of paper, because it clearly, I've made it big enough so the camera can pick it up, of how much it's cost for me to use the car for the last month and do 1,164 miles. Are you sitting down? Because I think you should. So Are we ready? This piece of paper contains how much I spent. It is a shocking amount. Please do not be alarmed. Do you see that this is a disgustingly large amount of money? So, I take it you are wondering. I hear you say it. The piece of paper is blank. There's nothing on it. That's true. My cost for charging for 1,164 miles was nothing. It has cost me nothing a mile to use the electric car. On them figures, do you think I'm going to be using the electric car a lot? I would put to you that you would be mad not to. So, that is my first month's costs of having the car. Nothing. It would have cost me well over £100 if I had my LPG car, and if the car was on petrol, it would have cost me 17 pence a mile for the car that I had. So, work it out yourself. My first month's costs of having a car, nothing. The reason why I have an electric car. So, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.